questions below, and I'll respond quickly or in the next episode of Louis Yam.
Hey everyone, how are we doing? I actually had the microphone on mute. My gosh, it's been one crazy day so far. How is everyone doing? Good to see you here, Ballin and Max and Anna and Wilton. Who else do we have in the chat right here? And Megan, who all is here? Say hey in the chat. Diego, Miles, I was trying to get things fixed up. I'm doing some emails right now. I sent out a big announcement. Did anyone see my big announcement? Which I think I have the proper times. I am in communications with them right now. I relaxed this weekend. Said, you know what? I'm just going to relax a little bit more, just have a good weekend. And then I didn't work as much. I mean, I worked some, but I didn't work every hour of the day, which, you know, that's what we should be doing. Might as well make it crazier with 500 points. I'll throw another 100 points out to the chat right here. If you're here, Daniel, good to see you. Alyssa, good to see you. Veda, good to see you. Reed, good to see you. Clayton, good to see you. My ear's acting up. I broke the stream earlier today. Matthew, good to see you. We're all here and we're ready to learn. Did anyone see the announcement I sent out about what's happening tonight at 6 p.m. your time? Who saw the announcement? Brian's going to he'll be a zombie. He might be drinking his third cup of coffee then. What is the announcement? PepsiCo's coming here, and you're not required to come, but check it out. Pretty big event right here. And they hired Herschel. I think I can say that. I don't know. He's come on stream. He's talked to us about it. They'll be over here in the interview room. Let's go over to the interview room. So I've been meaning to set up some new stuff right here. Let's bring up Julio. Julio messaged me this weekend also. Where's Julio at? Where you at, Julio? Here's Julio. Boom. Put up some Julio on the screen right there. So Brian will be over here in the interview screen talking to Maggie. And I think also there's three people coming. Oh, you know Herschel right there? Yeah. So wait, do you both, Whitson and Wilton? So from what I remember, Herschel went to the event last semester. Will we get an internship if we drink Pepsi during the stream? I wish it was that easy. Like, who's ever drinking Pepsi, whoever drinks the most Pepsi gets the internship. I wish there was rules like that because I'd just be chugging Pepsi the whole time. But you know, my dad worked for Pepsi, so I've got a lot of, what if I like Sprite more? Is that a Pepsi product? I don't know. Whitson, you're going out on the limb if you drink Sprite. They may or may not like that. I'm just kidding. Oh no, we'd have to ask Herschel right here. So if Whitson and Wilton might know, they might be able to speak more on that. And from what I remember, Sprite is Coke. Yeah, so don't be drinking. Drink some 7-Up. The internship was virtual. Oh, there you go. So, and you know, things are constantly changing. But once again, this is a great, Sierra Mist. Sierra Mist is pretty good stuff right there. I like some Sierra Mist. I wrapped up an internship with them this past summer. Oh, wait, did you also have an internship too, Kevin? Kevin, you should definitely join in and say hey to everybody. So, Kevin, feel free to tell us about your experience in the chat right now. But the number one way to get internships is to just go and meet the people. Like, first thing you need to do is meet these people. You need to just start a conversation. Oh, don't be talking about some Baja Blast. It's going to make me go to Taco Bell and get some Baja Blast right now. That's number one thing ever. You get that in some cans. But all this stuff right here, it was good, just virtual. Yeah. And good stuff on their companies trying to keep everyone safe. Just, you know, I appreciate any measures we can take to kind of deal with this world situation we're in. I personally don't prefer a virtual internship because I like meeting people and being part of a company. Me too. I would agree. And, you know, so we'll see what opportunities they have. So swing by. I will say this, any internship is better than no internship because, you know, basically you just want to get experiences, and the more experiences you have, like if you have 2 different internships, one, you probably have avenues for a job at both those companies, especially if your internship went well, which usually they do. I mean, why do you think companies do internships? What is an internship basically for a company? Like, what is a good reason for a company to do internships? Let's be a company right now and let's start doing internships. Why would a company do an internship? Did a virtual internship this past summer. It was all right. Doing work in bed is nice. Yeah. Recruiting. Free. But the thing is that pretty sure Pepsi is paid internships. We're in the minor leagues. Exactly. Pepsi is paid internships. Correct me if I'm wrong. Of course, they'll correct me tonight if I'm wrong on it. But, the farm team to hire you after graduate. Exactly. So attending tonight, just joining in, asking some question, is basically an extended interview. Mon 100 points right there. You couldn't have said it better. It's basically just an extended interview to put you in the minor leagues. But most internships are paid nowadays if it's a Fortune 500 company. Yeah. And I would definitely go for paid internships. If you don't have a paid internship, that's all right. Experience is good. Make sure you're not being, companies not treating you unfairly. Truthfully, I think all internships should be paid. But if you had the opportunity to work for the, let's say, the Patriots, and they said, we want you to run 10 hours of analytics a week, and we're going to have you communicating with the coaches, who would work with the Patriots and run 10 hours of analytics a week? And then you could put that on the resume. You worked with the Patriots and did 10 hours of analytics a week. Who would be like, sign me up. I'll do that 10 hours of analytics a week for the Patriots. Who would be like, psh, that's me right there. No question, Max says. So it really depends. Some of them are going to give you some value. Heck yes, it's Megan right there. I'll even you are our ball deflator. Not that they've ever done that. We need you to deflate these balls 10 hours a week. You're just going to go and then hand them to Tom Brady and say, okay, now so only if it was the Titans. Okay, Whitson, you get the 10 hours a week with the Titans. Non-paid internship. So you have to look at it to that degree. Does it help you achieve the goals you want? And I think if you were able to work for an NFL team, at that point, you might say, okay, I'm going to get a lot of experience here. Or maybe it's a low-paying internship. It all depends. Make sure you're getting something out of it too. If a big company says we want you to work for free and you're getting nothing out of it, and it's not really going to help your resume, don't do it. I mean, this is your life, your decisions. I'm just offering you advice. Life advice with Brian. Oh man, time to get serious here. Let's hop back in and start talking about some for loops. Let's do this. One last question. Who's going to be attending tonight? Who's going to be there tonight? Anyone going to be there tonight? Anyone? Am I going to be the only person? I'm really afraid. I'm going to be like, oh no. Like I show up to the event and it's just me. Mun's killing me in the chat. I show up and it's just Brian. Mun, another 50 points. Cracking Brian up in the chat. You have class at 6:10. It'll be recorded. It will be recorded, so you can check it out later. And truthfully, these companies want you to reach out to them. The people who send emails to these individuals who are recruiters for these companies and maybe say, hi, I'm a junior in business analytics. I'd really love to, learn more about this. You mentioned this during the interview. I wasn't able to attend live, but I watched the interview later and found this interesting. They're going to be like, oh, this person is actually communicating. There's a difference between those who want this and those who don't, and they can see that very clearly on those who are reaching out. So whatever happens like with the interview tonight, if afterwards they supply their contact information, I would contact them. It's rare that you have companies coming to you and saying, we would like to talk to you, and here's our contact info on how to get a hold of us. When I graduated with my degree and I went to companies, they were like, okay, you're in a line of 50 people now. And there are a lot of people applying for these internships, but at least now you have a person who's going to talk to you. And the more enthusiastic you are, don't be enthusiastic unless you're not. Like, don't be like, I want, and then, I don't want this. But if you are interested in this, do it. Apply. Give it a shot. And we know multiple people have gotten an internship with Pepsi here. I think Kevin said they had it. Herschel said they had it. How many people had internships with Pepsi? Pepsi does a lot of recruiting. Pepsi wants our talent at the University of Tennessee, which really makes me feel good that we have companies coming in here and saying, we want to hire your students because they have good experience with our students. So just realize they see value in what you are learning. With that, was it a good? Yeah, well, Kevin, speak freely, speak openly. You're free to tell us whatever you think. I think Kevin was saying it was virtual. I'm gonna do a cut in the video. I have not had an internship with Pepsi. I had an internship with 3M. And I did like my internship with 3M. So if you ever get the opportunity to speak to 3M, they usually give job offers to their interns, Kevin says. And then, Kevin, what did you think? Wait, Kevin, are you on the Discord? Kevin, are you on the Discord? If you can message me and speak on stream if you want. Ken, would you like to do that? Then we're going to hop over and do some lecture. So, Kevin, your call. You can speak in the chat or on stream, whatever you want. If you're on the Discord, just be like, yo, and then I'll join you on stream right here. You can come in and start talking to students. Have I had the sounds muted all day? No, I haven't. Good. You want to hop on stream? Oh, I think Kevin just messaged me. Yep, here we go. Let me give him a call. Yo, Kevin, you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're live. Go ahead and speak again, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm echoing. But yeah, no, it was good. It was a good internship.
Go ahead and give them more details if you want, or everyone ask questions of Kevin real quick. Go ahead.
So it's project based for I did a supply chain internship. So they give you a project at the beginning and you work with teams of full-time people to solve the project or problem that you're trying to solve, and then you present it to uh, like 60 to 80 people at the end of the internship. So you get to work on your professionalism and meet a lot of people and do some fun activities and also do some work. So it's a good mix of everything.
Nice. And it was virtual, you said, right?
Yeah, normally it's in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, cool. Hey, you'll be down here.
Yeah. So next summer they said they're planning for it to be in person, but also I'm a junior.
There you go. Max's question. Is it? I love that I can just pull people on stream like this. And then you don't have to say how much if you don't want. Was it paid? Was it not paid?
Yeah, it was paid, and it's 25 an hour, and they give a good like relocation bonus too. So I think they took, I want to say like 10 supply chain and engineering people from UT, so they recruit quite a few people. I'm not sure for analytics how many they take though.
25 an hour is not, what is it? Is it every 10,000 is 20,000 a year, so that's a 50K a year job?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. That's thank you for sharing that with us. Always your call to share those things. 25 an hour. I'm not out there trying to search for jobs right now, but 25 an hour is not that bad for internship. And then they got the relocation money right there. So they'll help you relocate for the summer. So when I did my internship, my roommate still stayed at my apartment, and then I relocated to Minnesota and was there for the summer, and they did some relocation stuff too. I think my internship was more like probably 17, 18. I mean, it was 10 years ago. I don't know. It was a decent wage that they paid, but yeah, that's some good stuff. Do you think people should come out tonight, meet the people from Pepsi, and just give their questions?
Yeah, the recruiters are always really nice, and they're always looking for the best people. So if you can connect with them, you have a pretty good chance of at least getting an interview.
Yeah, do it, and then at least if you don't get anything, you practice your interview skills. So come out tonight, give it a shot, meet the recruiters, ask the questions, learn about some companies. Kevin, do you have any last words for us? Thank you so much for jumping on the stream. We're going to throw everyone 100 points, but Kevin, your parting thoughts.
Just practice a lot for the job fair. Make sure you have a few different people look over your resume before you go. And everyone's looking for people like us that have skills in coding and business knowledge. So everyone, good luck with recruiting this year.
Kevin, I just want to say this. I don't care. I'm throwing another 100 points. Let's make the noise again. You couldn't have put it better that the people with skills are in high demand. I just hit a button. The people with skills are in high demand, and they just want to see that you actually know these things. Let me ask you one more question. In your interview, did they give you like problems to work through? Did they look at your like problem solving skills? I've seen that a lot in technical interviews where they might ask you a question and see how you would handle it. Your thoughts?
Every company is different. I think with PepsiCo, they were mostly asking behavioral questions and maybe some supply chain stuff. But I also had an interview with Dell last fall, and they straight up asked me if I knew how to code. And unfortunately, I could not say yes because I had not taken this class.
Oh, wait, they literally asked you if you knew how to code? Dell asked you that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Sorry, I interrupted you, but had you taken this?
Looking for.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say they are looking for people that have those skills.
Yeah, it's literally a skill, and developing these skills, and then they'll want to know how good you are, because one of my other students just got an internship from the 475 class because someone reached out to us and said, hey, do you have students with this skill set? We put them in contact with 5 students, and one of them got an internship just because they were like, do they have these skill sets? And we said, yep, here they are. And they're like, we need that person. And then internship happened. So keep thinking about this as skills, not grades. I know you're going to get a grade, but it's more important you learn skills. And then it's like being a roofer. You don't get a grade for being a roofer. You know how to, I don't know, maybe you do get a grade. Anyways, last words. I totally interrupted you, Kevin. Your call.
Oh, no, that's pretty much it. Everyone, good luck with recruiting.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Bye for now, Kevin. Bye. Thank you so much, Kevin. Yeah, Parker says, that's how you got your internship last summer. Which one? With coding, Parker? We're going to hop here and talk about some for loops, and then we're going to get into some new topics. So let's go do a review of for loops right here to start out class. Parker, if you want to mention about your internships, and maybe we'll have you on stream here sometime too. Maybe next class have Parker on stream. Parker can talk about it. Let's hop into the main screen, and let's get serious right here. Get serious with some coding. So this new assignment this week, and we got to make sure they're moved in the correct order. You don't have 2 assignments this week. I'm going to look at that tonight. You don't have 2 assignments this week. You have 1. And the 1 assignment is on for loops. Now, why do we use for loops? Why do we use for loops? Who can explain why we use a for loop right here? Why do we use for loops? Why do we use for loops? Who knows? Why would we ever use a for loop? Why in the world would you use a for loop? I might even do. That's awesome right there, Parker. Definitely want to learn more about that. To make repetitive commands easier. Exactly. Execute a series of code repetitively to loop over it. Now, this is a problem for the 475 class, so maybe, I don't know, if they ever got a hold of this video, they would know how to do one of their problems. Let's take something like this stock data right here, and let's go to ex4 stocks, and if you look at this, this is just a bunch of stocks and their closing prices. Does that make sense that these are just stocks and what they closed out on a certain day? So if I go here to the first column, this is going to be the stock, and let's take a look at it. The stock here in the first column is stock AA. I think that's Alcoa stock or something. It's just stock ticker AA. We have different lag variables right here. And great job right there, everyone. Repetitive tasks made easier. You got it. And this right here is just literally this first column. Does the code I have written right here make perfect sense to everybody? Does that make perfect sense? Who's like, okay, I understand what Brian is doing right there. Can you explain what that means? We're just going very slowly because I know a lot of people we don't want to go too quickly. We just want to know what code online ones means. That is a great question, Alyssa, right there. This says the stock data frame is what dimensional? Thank you, Alyssa. 20 points right there, Alyssa. The stock data frame is what dimensional right here? The stock data frame is what dimensional? What is the comma for? Everyone start explaining right here. Practice, practice, practice. Why do we have a comma in this one? Why is there a comma? And Alyssa's right. It's 2-dimensional. So this is the row space, and this is the column space. So we are only getting what? Great job right there, Max. Another 20 points in the chat. We are only getting the what's right here. We are only getting the what. This code right here is only returning the first what of the ex4 stock data frame. There's the ex4 stock data frame. This code is only returning the first column. Where's the stocks data? The stocks data is going to be found. Great question right there. It's found in the reg class dataset. Make sure you've installed reg class. And so if you have reg class installed by install library reg class, then you should be able to pull this up. And you want to make sure you have reg class installed right there. So Matthew, great question. Make sure you have reg class installed. And then make sure you run library reg class. And then whenever you're pulling up data packages which are installed, you will see when you type them, they will appear with the package they're associated with over here on the right. So the ex4 stocks data frame, and thank you, I'm throwing 20 points. Please keep asking these questions whenever you're like, what's going on? Because there's a lot of little bits to know. So now we can see the ex4 stocks data frame is inside of the reg class package. So if you don't see it, you have not either installed reg class or you have not turned on reg class. So you must first install the package, and then you can access the package information inside of it. Now that we have it accessed, we can actually look at the data frame. What if I wanted to do this? Because these are closing prices. What have I just found? Let's do this all here in little bits. We're kind of doing 474's question 2 this week. What have we found here? You'd be like, wait, I'm doing work for an upper level class? Yep. We're just going to do their problem right here. What have we found right here? Just describe for me. This is a vector of the closing prices of AA. It's just the first column. There's the first column. There's all the closing prices. And then if I do this, I found the what? What have we found right here? On line 5, we've now found the what of the closing price of AA. Don't go too crazy, because we had the closing prices of AA, and now we have the what of the closing prices of AA. You've got it. Minimum value of that column, exactly right there, Max. The 52-week low is at 52 weeks, something like that. We've got the minimum closing price right there. How about if we do the following? A lot of code is copy paste. What's this do? What do we have right here? It does say the max for the closing price of this column minus the min for the closing price. The range, David, another 20 points. You're right. This is range stands code because it could not find the function used for statistical environment. Make sure to run all these codes up here above, Matthew. Make sure you have library reg class on, and then let it auto-complete when you type ex4 stocks. Make sure ex4 stocks auto-completes, and then click the auto-complete right here. And if it is auto-completing, it will load in. If it's not auto-completing, then we do not have the following. All these codes have to be run in order right here. You must first install the package. I had already installed it. You must then turn the package on. Let's put this. Installs package. Run only once. You only need to install once. And then this turns package on. Run each time, restarting every time you restart. And then this loads data from packages, not from files, but from packages. Does that make sense? Lines 1 through 3. How are we doing on what lines 1 through 3 do in this code? Are we doing well? Good practice, good review. We can never go over the basics enough. It's like, what does this code do? What exactly is it telling the computer to do? So I think we're good on those. Make sure all 3 lines of code are run, and I will post this after class, so you will have it up in case it didn't run. And so now we have the range. Got it, Matthew. We're throwing Matthew some 50 points. Matthew, staying strong, getting those 50 points for all of us right here. We've got the range of the values right here. But how about this? Notice how the value here was 7.34. Now the value is 7.34. But what can I do right here by doing this? What have I now found now? Just think about, since I is 2, I found the range of the what. Or if I is 3, I know I just asked a question, but I can just do this now. And this is the key to writing for loops. What does the dash on line 7 mean? Oh, the minus. We're taking the range right there, Peyton. Good question, Peyton. The dash right there is minus, so we're doing the range. So the maximum value in the vector minus the minimum. It just finds the maximum for whatever column we're selecting. And then the dash right here says minus the minimum value. Good question right there, Peyton. So what am I doing right here, right now? Explained by assigning 6 as I have now found the what of the what column. So by assigning 6 into I found the what of the what column. The range of that column. Julia, another 20 points. You're right, Julia. We found the range of that column. And I can find the range of any column I want by doing the following. But let's do this. Range of the 6, exactly. We can just change whatever I is. So let's go here and do the following. Let's create something called span. And inside of span, we're just putting a blank vector. This is a vector with nothing in it. There's nothing in the vector. It's just a space right now to store information. Let's go right here to span. Inside of span, we should put our code in order. Inside of span, let's store to the ith position. That's the first. We want the ith position. And now let's go right here, and we are going to store to the first position of span the range of the first column. And look, and we'll highlight span right here, it's storing. Every time we rerun this code, it's appending to the vector. It's storing to a position in the vector. Who understands right here what lines 11 through 13 does? Please, we're going to pause here and ask questions because we're writing a basic for loop from scratch. We're doing a 474 question. Do you understand what's going on right here? We're taking the range, and now we're just storing it into a vector, into position I. But position I, we can change, like I can make position I 3. And the last line of code here on line 13 just prints out what the vector is. So now we have a vector of length 3. We just stored position 3 into the vector. How's that looking right there? Ask questions as we're doing this. If it's like, doesn't make sense, be like, what did you hear? What's going on? Pause right here for a second. We're on live chat. We are good. How are we doing? think we're good. Everyone's quiet for the moment. No, I get scared when everyone's quiet. So with this, I'm going to throw 100 points if someone says something. Span is just the name of the vector. It's just a placeholder. Great question right there, Nathan. 100 points. Span is just a placeholder for us to store in. We could have called this anything we want. Anything we want. This is not the vector we're going to go through. It's just a place for us to store something into. And let's start with 1. I wouldn't call it... It makes sense to call it span because it's like the span, or we could call it range of values. And this is just where we're storing the range of the values. So it's just a place for us to... When I did span, I got... Oh, you might have stored into position 2 first, Daniel. I bet your I is set to 2. So set I to 1 first and then run it. Does that make sense? Why can't we just write the number? That's the question right here, Alyssa. Alyssa, 20 points. Great question. Because here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this right here. And this is going to become our what? Because this doesn't change every time we run our code. Every time we run our code, this does not change. So the thing that does not change when you run your code is your what. There's a key term from last class. The thing that never changes when you run your code is your what for your for loop. There's 3 parts to the for loop. There's the variable, there's the vector, and there's the skeleton. The thing that never changes, great job right there, another 20 points class. No, it is the skelly. It's the skelly right there. It's the skeleton. And that never changes. Every time we run this, we just change what I is. That means I is the what for this loop. If I is changing and going through a vector, I is the what because I is the thing that changes. Every time this loop runs, I will take on a different value and it will go through a set of values. I is a bunch of things right here. I is the variable. And the variable is what changes when the for loop runs. Every time the for loop runs, the variable will go through the next element of the vector. So now the vector is the values I will go through. What do you want I to start at? This is the easy question. What do you want I to start at? What would you like I to start at? And I was kind of showing you how to do it right there. What would you like I to start at? What would you like I to start at? You'd like I to start at 1, and it'll start at 1 there. Then you want it to go through, and there's a few ways to code this, and the answer is above me. What do you want I to go through? And you could hard code this. I wouldn't suggest it, and you can. It will work. But you want I to go through what? You want it to go from 1 to, and that's what the colon does right there. You want I to go from 1 to what? This right here is the skeleton. The inner part of the for loop right here is the skeleton. So the skeleton is the code that repeats endlessly. So the inner part of the for loop right there is the skeleton. And we identified it by saying we've written a code that we can just like go like this and change I, which makes I the variable. And then the skeleton, we're just printing this at the end to see what it is, but we don't technically need that. It's just letting us evaluate what we get. I is going to change, and the part of the code that never ever changes is the skeleton. And people are right. The end of, and so it's going to be how many columns there are. Great job, Alyssa. Amazing questions. Keep those questions coming. You are correct. It's 41, and this will work. That will work, but what about the number of columns there are in the EX4 data frames? When I run this code right here, what will this evaluate to? When I run this code right here, what will this evaluate to? Oh my gosh, Megan, earning everyone 100 points. Megan, that's 100% right. And then what does this code evaluate to? Megan answering the questions along with me. Megan, amazing work. Great job. And we've done it. We have now created our span vector. What? What did I do? Oh, I did span. Haha. We've now created our range of vectors value, range of values vector. But we've created the range of values vector right here. I stopped storing into span. If we had just changed this over to span, we would be storing into span. And then span is also going to have in it all the values. So it just depends on where you want to store. I would suggest using the same name, of course. So now it looks consistent. We just kind of showed that it didn't matter what we named that. We just have to create that vector, whether it be span or range of values. That's just the spot at which we're storing them. And truthfully, if we're cleaning this up, we don't need this up here. So I might comment this out. And then that's Control-Shift-C to block comment. And right here. And if you understood this, you just did a question on the BAS 474 assignment for them. So you did kind of a more advanced for loop. On a scale 1 to 10, how much do you feel like you understood this? 10 being like, that makes perfect sense, Brian. I could do that. 1 being like, I have no idea any about this. 1 to 10. I'm going to gauge what I do next from the response. 4, okay. 6.5. 4, 7.5, okay. So imagine if you had this 7.5 and they like, do you know how to code? And you say, Megan, great job right there. Let's do one more. Yeah. Yeah, and that's data camp's going to have similar problems. This is like the basics of 4. What does line 13 do? Line 13 creates a blanked vector. This right here is a vector with nothing in it. Like if I were to create vector of zeros, we could use this right here with some zeros, and then we could overwrite it, and it'll still overwrite it. A lot of times when we create vectors just to use, we'll just create a nothing vector. So that's like me handing you a box and saying, put things in this box. And you say, what's in the box? And I say, nothing. Just start putting stuff in it. If you put things in the positions, you will overwrite them. I just don't see any need to put the zeros there because we're going to start overwriting position 1. And now when the loop runs, it will overwrite position 1. This just creates a vector. You could probably also just do this. That also works. You could maybe do this. That works. And we're just creating the object span. You have to watch out, though, because if you don't have the object span, like here's where you run into trouble. I removed span, and now notice what it's doing. Why can this loop not run? I want you to think, like, what went wrong with Brian's loop right here? Because now, technically, we don't have that code above. So what is crashing Brian's loop now, since we don't have that code? What is crashing Brian's loop? And you can see right down there. The error is really not intuitive. But remember, I removed span. Span doesn't exist, so when it tries to write to it, it can't write to it. Because we're saying write to span position I, and it's like, there is no span. I wish it just says span does not exist. And so you're exactly right here. So the first thing we need to do, and remember my loop is crashing right now, and there is no span. It's getting really mad. Ooh, span is actually the name of a function. Oh, so it's really mad. Span range. So when I run this, now it says span range not found. So span's also the name of a function. That's why we got that weird error. This is a much more intuitive error right here because it was trying to treat that as a function. So now if I want to use span range, I should go over here and create span range. And now when I run it, it works, and we've stored into span range. Does that help make more sense of this right here, that we actually have to create what we want to store into? I know, right? I was like, wait, span's a function? It probably just gives you the, what does it give you? Span, global. Oh, I was creating a span function. Ooh, that's what happened when we wrote to it. Or something. Well, that's weird. Spans in Shiny. Oh, that's why. Huh. Okay, I've never used span in Shiny. I was like, I didn't even know span was a function, but it's in the Shiny package. So yeah. One last thing right here. I want to mention to you the power of coding. We'll see how Brian's power of coding, how good it is. I'll put this as a cut in the video. Funny you ask, what is Shiny, Megan? Great question. Shiny is a way to make like dashboards, interactive stuff. And here's an example of what I made this weekend. I was really proud of myself. My fiance was impressed too. I made this in about 2 hours. Very, very happy with this. So what is Shiny? Really quick on that right here. Let's go take a look at the power of coding. So this is a Shiny app I created right here. I've got the rankings of NFL players right here with kind of a worth associated with them. If you look at all the different worths right here, it's in a tibble, which is basically just a form of a table. But we have all the different rankings of the players. And then I actually turned the position into a factor, which means I'm making it a what variable. I have turned position into factor, turning it into a what variable. So I've turned position into a factor, turning it into a what variable. I can send it to you if you want, Daniel. I could. Yeah, just message me and say, hey, Brian, send me your app. Categorical variable. And then if you look over here at the ranks, you can see all of this right here. And you could go through here and look at the points. And you could just sort this way. But what fun is this? I wrote all this code right here. So this is the code I was working on. And if you think coding takes a long time, here's the thing. A lot of coding, and I'm throwing some 50 points. Great job interacting right there. A lot of coding. What do you think a lot of coding is as Brian created his code right here? A lot of coding is merely whatting. A lot of coding, and you even see it down here, a lot of coding is just a lot of copy paste. It's a lot of copy paste because there's a lot of similarities on how this all runs. We're just changing, what player we're doing. So let's go ahead and see what this does. And here's what it does. We'll see that right there. This is what my app does is you can go through here. Now, I didn't fix this one problem. You actually have to select one thing before it starts computing, but you go over here to the rankings page, which I don't even need this available player page anymore. But on the ranking page, it actually ranks everyone. Now, Travis Kelce right here, he's actually highly ranked because he's a really standout tight end. So I actually value him more. I was going to pick him in my family draft, and then my brother picked him right before me in position 8. I was on 10 on the snake draft, 10 out of 10. And my brother picked him right before me, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. But he's highly valued. Now, we could downweight the quarterbacks right here, and you'll see they move down the list. So you could be like, I want to value quarterbacks more. I really need a quarterback. And it's just going to upweight and downweight and change the value of them. And I was going to make it so that depending on who you draft, who did I draft first? I can't remember now. I can't even remember. Had Barkley auto-drafted at 5. I need to look at my whole drafting order again. I wish I could see. I funny enough, I feel better in our business analytics league with 12 people than I do in my family league with 10. But you can pick who's picked right here, and it'll update. Like you can go right here and say, let's go to Travis Kelce right here, and he gets selected. You can also search, like if you want to search for Grunk over here, you can see where Grunk's at, and you can see him right here, and then you can put someone on your team. But all this right here is being done with R right here. I did it from a data sheet, so a lot of it, my analytics show after the first 3 picks, taking Adam, Diggs, Hill is the way to go. Well, there you go. Yep. And it all depends on your analytics right here on how you value players. So you can upweight or downweight. You could turn tight ends to a high value. So now we're looking at basically tight ends, or you could just filter only tight ends. So I could go here and only look at tight ends. What's funny enough, and you have to actually have one of the players selected from one of the groups. I need to fix that error with this. I drafted Jonathan Taylor first. That's who I drafted. we'll tell you right there. We'll see how good Brian is. It currently says he's going to be like 8th or 9th out of 12 for our league. So we'll see how that goes. We'll watch the league here. I wasn't using this for our league. I was using it for my family league because our league went really quickly. And the thing about drafting on ESPN is they actually let you sort stuff pretty quickly. So my family doesn't, we just do it live on the phone. So I was using this right here, but kind of a neat little thing I made. I hope you could upweight your running backs a whole bunch. QBs are still being valued. And the way I do my formulas is going to figure out like all the different evaluations right here and how you value players. I was going to have it set for the more players you pick from a group, the less weight they have. And so I would just need to update things. I would need to update these sliders right here. But all this is being done inside of R. This is a good 200 lines of code, all being done inside of Shiny. And you're right, ESPN has a lot of insight. So I was actually just using their thing and using my knowledge on like, I have this many this. I basically took a lot of running backs, I think, a lot of wide receivers. Do you have to manually input all the data for all the players? Nope. We're taking this from an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm using the read XLS function. So I didn't have to manually input it. I just found a data sheet right here that I kind of halfway trusted with an assigned value for each player. And then this is the computations right here. So you can see right here the assigned value for each player. And then I did like a weighting for each group. So you can look at how my code is being run when you think about the ranks of the players. We got a sequence along right there. Did I write that? Oh, no, I didn't. This is the multi-input. I was like, I don't use lapply that much. I got that code from how to do the multi-selector. But all this down here, this code right here, this code took a moment to write. Some of these codes are kind of long. Like this code right here, I had to constantly keep changing it. But this is how all the point values are being associated. And you see it actually goes through multiple lines right here. I could probably make it look more pretty if I do that right there. Try to make my code look pretty all the time. But with this, it's just, taking your time, writing the lines bit by bit. I spent about 2 hours, and I ran this app about probably 500 times. Every time I update something, I run it. So even I code in those little bits. So with that, we've seen what the power of R can do. And I've done other things just for fun. Like I like to do, there's like my first, is this the one that like, here's my start of it and where I was testing stuff out. And then I went over here and got it working the way I wanted it to. I've also coded, I think I've shown in the class, the Price is Right, but I should make the Price is Right a Shiny app. But that's got it for that. Let's hop over to the main screen. And I think today, oh yeah, no, I downloaded the data. Yeah, I wouldn't. And that's the biggest thing is actually the rankings is going to be a really big part of how you assign points. So, it really matters to where you grab the analytics. So do you get good analytics or bad analytics? That's going to be the question. And let me go look at the assignments, make sure they're properly allocated. We're about to start a new topic. We are about to start some associations. Let's go ahead and look right here. We need to move back this associations. Okay, wait. For loops on... Oh, good. Everything is right now. Everything is right with the world. It is time for some associations. We're doing great on time. And the quiz for it is not until next week. Oh my gosh. The holiday gave us so much time. Who's ready to learn a new topic right here and actually start doing some analytics? And I've got great news. I would say this is when the class gets easier. So if you've been like, oh my gosh, this class has been an uphill battle, I've been biking uphill, I would say at this point, this is when you start to take a break and the downhill starts to kick in. You still need to keep pedaling. Still need to keep learning. But I think this is when things get a little bit easier. Let me go ahead and take a look at chat. Is this the part where we enjoy the view? I think so. I think this is where you start to get a little bit easier. Positive associations. Yes, love it. Let's hop in here to the notes. And this is on associations. Let's hop over to the notes. Make sure I have everything up. Now I want to mention something. Many sections, not many sections, but one section of this class, maybe one or two, had Monday off. So we kind of get a little more time in here, a little more time to talk about associations. And it's very important we know what an association is. Let's go first to an association. If I were to tell you to explain this, we'll go, do you attend class? And I truly mean this. Oh, we don't want to do that. I'd hate that. Let's go to, I'm always scared to look how many people are watching. Let's go here to yes. Let's go here to no. And let's do the following. And I see this all the time when I look at points. When I look at who has the points, this is do you attend class? And let's go here to pass and fail. What do you notice about this right here? What do you notice about do you attend class and do you pass fail? Just explain to me. I'm not going to look at people who are watching. I'm scared. What do you notice right here about this? How would you explain this? And great job, Anna, right there. Let's throw some more points out there. Anna, amazing work. Keep attending. Keep watching live. Keep interacting. Kids. Should we call them kids? Oh, no. As I get close to 40, ever so closer every day. I mean, we're all getting closer to 40, unless you're over 40. Then you're getting further away from 40. It's more likely to pass if you attend class. Exactly. Now you know a word you don't want to use right here? You don't want to say this word. Who's got some Stat Tool 1 data knowledge right here? Everyone who doesn't attend fails. Not everyone. And we wouldn't say correlation. I'm throwing some 20 points, but we won't say correlation. Why are we not saying correlation? Let's go here and height weight some correlation. This is correlated. Correlations can be positive. Correlations can be negative. Correlations are only what? Correlations are only what's. Correlations are only between this. And correlation does, Whitson right there, great answer right there. Whitson is correlation does not equal causation. But why correlation is the R correct? And correlation is only between what's? Correlations are only relationship between, that is, Meg is correct. And think about height and weight are what variables? Correct, Kevin, right there, when they're both quantitative. Now, these are both associations. Correlation is a specific type of association. Does that make sense? Kevin is 100% right there for 100 points. We're just going crazy on points. I gave out so many points this morning because the points were all messed up. So we're just giving out crazy points today. Remember, hashtag show up, get those points. So correlation is only between two quantitative variables. So let me ask you a question. Are both of these associated, yes or no? Are both of these an association? Yeah, no, don't worry. This is a good question right here, and this is why I mentioned these things. Are both of these things associated? Are both of these associated? Yes. Only one of them has correlation, because correlation only applies when you can say, generally we see people who are taller, generally way more. Does that make sense? Like, generally people who are taller, you might have some outliers over here. You might have somebody over here who is very tall but doesn't weigh that much. So generally when people are taller, generally weigh more. I got to say this, I was watching this guy who was like 155 bench press like 340. I still don't even know if it's real. Like I'm still just like, how is that possible? He's an outlier. So check it out. I can't remember the name of his YouTube channel, but dude is putting up like 300 plus multiple reps at like 150. I swear it's really, it looks real to me. You'd have to get a lot of people faking that. I know a lot of people are faking things, but I don't know. Outlier. That's what we say, outlier. So you're just very far away from the data. Correlation is to a square as association is to a rectangle. Ooh. Max. Let's make that a quote, Max. Max earns some 20 points. Correlation is a specific type of rectangle. That is Max. You're making me think right there with some great analogies. Max with quote 101. Max. Let's throw that in our quote bank right here. Max now has quote 101. Talk to Mubot about quote 101 and you will see Max quote right there. Max is very correct. And if you understand it, that correlation is a specific type of association. Like both of these are associated, but only the one. Yeah. Awesome. Remember, it's exclamation mark quote 101. Yep. Whitson's got it right there. So nice job right there. Great quote. Great way of understanding it. Quote 100. Yeah. What did quote 100 get again? Let's see it. Love it. Okay, so here we are, different types of associations. So what is an association? An association is when you know one variable. Like if you know the college someone went to, it would give you information about someone donating to UT. If you know someone's hair color, it might tell you about their attractiveness. I don't know, I'm just saying. If you know how much somebody spends at Kroger, it might tell you information about their Home Depot expenses. If you know if somebody attends class, it might what? If you know if somebody attends class, it might give you information about what? If you know about somebody attending class, it might give you information about them whatting. Their grades, great job, Megan, right there, as everyone's having a little fun in the chat. We are seeing their pass-fail, great job, Shiv, right there. If you know if somebody attends class, if you know somebody's height, it might give you information. It doesn't mean you know their weight. If you know someone's height, it probably gives you information about their what. If you know someone's height, probably gives you information about their what. Like it's associated with this, so it would give you information. Mubot is working some overtime. It would give you information about their weight. Does this make sense what an association is? Association is if you know this, it gives you information about this. It doesn't mean you know what the other thing is. It just means it helps you narrow down the values. And we'll see that right here as we look at the definition of an association. Two quantities are associated for whatever reason. When we know one value of a quantity, it tells you something or narrows down the possible values of others. So when we think about narrowing down the values, it's going to help us better understand values. It's going to help us say, okay, we have somebody's height. We can now better guess their weight. My friend John in high school was 4'11". Guess how much he weighed? He was third place in wrestling championships for his weight group. And I'm pretty sure his weight group was this. He was 4'11". Guess what his wrestling weight group was? It was states. It was freshman states, and he was third place out of 3.
Wow.
Because 4'11". Oh, 140. Oh, man. Oh, he'd be 140 at 4'11". Ooh, he'd be. Yeah, no, don't worry. 280 Emery. It was something like 92 or 95 or something like 90. Freshman states had some sort of a very, very small weight group in the like 85, 90 or something. I don't know. Does anyone else here wrestle? Like freshman states they got some pretty low weight groups. I think like 102 might be one of the lowest for actual like full tier, like 4-year high school stuff. But then like freshman states had a very, very low weight group for, I mean, just, I don't know. I think I wrestled 145 straw weight. Is that what they call it, Megan? Something like that. He was very low weight group. He was third place out of 3. I think the dude pinned him like right away. He was like, yay, third place. Get pinned right away. So knowing that John is 4'11", you would have information about his weight. Now you could say, could he weigh 200 pounds at 4'11"? Yeah, he could weigh 200 pounds. I was 220, 6'2" in high school. My teacher always kept trying to get me to wrestle. There you go. I'm 6'3", 168 right now, something like that. But I was 205. See, you can't know. You say, wait a minute, Brian, you were 6'3", you were over 200. I got about up to 220. I was close to 220. It all depends. 220 muscle, 220 heavier. It all depends. Many different ways to be. Actually, that might be too big. Straw is 106 to 115 in MMA. John would not in some MMA. Our football team might need you. Yeah, 220, 6'2" is a pretty good football weight right there. It all depends. And then you got to work on your mobility. Got to do some like stretching. Got to do some good stuff. BMI is, you know what? That's such a good point right there. Does BMI give you information about how in shape someone is? Yes or no? Let's take a vote in the chat right now. Ooh, let's do a vote. Does BMI give you information about someone being in good health? Let's go yes, no, maybe. Here we go. Vote is in the chat. Ask your community. Let's see what the chat says right here. Let's see. Does BMI give you information about someone being in good health? Does it give you information about someone being in good health? Does someone's BMI? I don't want to give my answer because I don't want to sway the chat. More like 230 now, Rip. It's all about being your best Mew. We say that Mew do Mew. Like it's all about just being happy and like, I mean, I'd maybe go up back to 220 if we could end the pandemic. I think that would make me a lot happier if going out to concerts and stuff. It's like I get this genie and the genie says, Brian, you either can weigh 220 or the pandemic continues. And I say, you know what? I'm going to weigh 220. We're going to end this pandemic. Maybe that's why the pandemic's still going on, right? So it's all about, there's a lot of the equation of life about what makes people happy. And that'd be, that'd make me very happy. It's a no right now, winning out. We're going to end the poll right here. I mean, say it is quote unquote worthless. It isn't worthless. It isn't. New poll feature. What's the new poll feature? Would you go to 220 and end the pandemic? I'm more on the maybe side of this because a lot of professional athletes can have some horrible BMIs. If you look at like some really strong football players, maybe a football player who's at like 180, like a wide receiver who's at like 180, 5'11", they're going to have a very, very high BMI, closer to 200 at upper fives. But those football players, like I was looking at those football, I was like, gosh, these guys are like top tier physical shape. So BMI is not the best and depends on how you measure it. I think there's a lot better measurements on health aspects. Mewbot BMI, he's over 9,000 BMI. So that's Mewbot's BMI right there, over 9,000. Jokes, memes. So yeah, and a lot of people aren't very muscular. So you could look at things like, what is it? There's the thing where you can like get a test where you are on like the treadmill. I've never done it, but I've seen it. You could get a DEXA scan to see your fat ratio, like the amount of fat you have. But there's a lot of issues, and BMI is just kind of a quick way to look at it, which might not be so accurate. There might be some association, some worth to BMI, but it really depends on other factors too. So there's there's other factors associated with your health that are outside of BMI, and there might be outliers with BMI, like football players. So for people of average height and that don't exercise, it can be useful. Parker's thrown some great insight right here. It is distorted for small and taller people. They can measure it with water pods that measure water displacement. Very interesting. Yeah, Megan's right there. So there's other ways to look at the association between health and other aspects. BMI can be useful. There are outliers, and this is what we should know about all associations. Your BMI is not going to tell you everything, but it might narrow down the information of how healthy someone is. It could, but then there are going to be outliers, and then there is going to be other things that are associated with it too. So very good stuff right there. So we have right here the chance of someone donating to UT by their major. If you had to go out and collect money right now for UT, who would you go to? Use this information here. Someone's going to be like, I'm going to go to, I don't know. I'm going to go to McDonald's. Well, no. Go here. Go to this information. If you had to go out and collect money for UT right now, where would you go? Lawyers who graduated from UT, exactly. So we see here lawyers have a much higher probability. Also Haslam College of Business too, maybe because you're associated with it. Peyton Manning, did he get a law or Haslam degree? He might be all tapped out though. He might say, I'm Peyton Manning. And thank you, Peyton. He does a lot of donating of his time and money. I think he's donating money. I don't know. I know he's donating a lot of time. Accountants asking for donations, then they sue me for solicits. Megan is killing me in the chat right there. Megan's just killing me with those right there. He majored in communications. Is that arts and science? So I mean, he might be the outlier if he's donated, especially a lot with his time and money. My mom saw him in the library one time. That's awesome. I haven't seen Peyton on campus. I've seen they had a get together of other former players that were on his team, and I saw them walking to a parking lot. I saw like these dudes who were just like huge guys, and I was just like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Reunion of the championship team," and I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're just here for our 20-year reunion." Was it 20 or 10 year? It might have been 10 year. But these dudes were just like really. I was like, don't usually see like just huge guys. He donated 1 million. Thank you so much. That's awesome right there. So he's a bit of an outlier. He doesn't follow the trend that we see less likely probability of donating. We see more likely lawyers to donate. My mom had a friend who was a friend of his wife. Awesome right there. You never know. There's all. Think about this. You're more likely to have met Peyton Manning if you what? Think about given this, you're more likely to meet or know someone who knows Peyton Manning. Given this, just go with the most basic. Given this is true about you, like what's associated with knowing Peyton Manning or knowing someone who knows Peyton Manning? Engineering. Oh, we should put engineering. We should update the slide. You go to UT. So Hunter's got it right there. Or majoring in communications. Like if you're in the communications department, you might be even more likely to meet Peyton Manning because he might go into events. Like some communications majors and stuff are going to have more of an in, especially with their professors who would probably know him a lot better. So like what's the probability of Brian getting Peyton Manning to appear on live stream? Well, it'd be higher if I was teaching a communications class. Man, that'd be cool. Peyton Manning, you're always welcome on stream. He does a lot. I don't want to put it, yeah. Feel like Brian's, no, yeah. So we see right here, and there are outliers with this. Salone, oh, is that his new place? Yeah. I want to check that out. Yeah, I want to check it out. Get some grub there. Get some food. What do we notice right here? If you have a high GPA, now be very careful. GPA, be very careful, is a what variable? GPA is a what variable? John Gruden, another player. GPA is a what variable? GPA is a what variable? Ooh, be careful. It's actually this variable, but we're using it like this. We see right here side-by-side box plots, which are a categorical X. And we see right there a quantitative Y. So we see an association where people with higher GPAs are more likely to get a higher salary. It doesn't mean you will get a higher salary if you have a higher GPA. GPA is quantitative, but we're actually using it here as a categorical. So you're both right. Another 20 points. You're both right. It is a quantitative variable, but we are using it as two categories, like the 2.0 GPA people and the 4.0 GPA people. Maybe we kind of rounded people. Like if you were 1.5 to 2.5, we put you into the 2.0. Use it as a categorical. Mega another 20 points. And that's the exact answer right there. It is a quantitative variable, but we're using it as a categorical, saying students who fall into the 2.0 group versus students who fall into the 4.0 group. So we are splitting it apart into a categorical variable. But it is quantitative because how much is your GPA? What do we see right here? 50 points. What's the name of this graphic? What is the name of this graphic? This is a what graphic, which is where we can do correlation. And we see right here how many offensive yards a team has and how many wins a team gets. You could be over here and be, who are these? The Titans? No, I don't know. The Panthers? No, are they good this year? I don't know who's good. The Patriots? Here's where the Patriots used to be, and here's where the Patriots are no longer. Great job right there, 50 points. Those are scatter plots. This is a scatter plot right here showing us the association. The Jaguars, boom, got the Jags down here. Jaguars down here, and we got the Buccaneers up here. So there we go. Tom Brady for the win right there. Sorry. I got him in one league out of two. He went like 5th round in my other league. I'm like, come on. I was going to choose him 6th round. But when Tom Brady went 5th round, I was just like, I think I already had Josh Allen. I don't know. I got a good quarterback. And now I'm starting Brady because he's predicted to get more points. And every time I don't start Brady, he gets crazy points. But there's an association between getting yards and winning. Tom Brady is the TD king. Yeah, dude. And I got Gronk in my first league, and I didn't get Gronkowski in the second league, and I was really disappointed. He went once again. I mentioned in the comments, I was like, well, there goes Gronk, because I was making jokes and like, I'm gonna pick the Browns first, but I actually did want Gronk. And he got picked the round I was going to pick him. So, yeah. But you never know if Brady's going to have the hookup being with Gronk this season. With this right here, what if a team said, Brian's telling us offensive yards is associated with winning. Would you agree that teams that get more offensive yards are more likely to win? Do you agree with that? Yes or no? Just listen to the statement again. Teams that get more offensive yards are more likely to win. They have a higher probability, or the more yards you get, we expect your team to get more wins. It's associated. There's an association between you get more yards is associated with getting more wins. Yeah, it is. So what if, the Jaguars down there said, if we let the other team score, we can get more yards. Is that true? If you let the other team score, you just say, here, run the ball in, go score. If you let them do that, can you get the ball back and then get more yards? Like you let the other team score, and then you get the ball back and you get to get yards too. I mean, think about that. I mean, just logic right here. If you want to get more yards, then just let the other team score, and then you get the ball back so you can get yards. Megan's like, yeah, you are. So now, what we see right here, it's not cause and effect. You see, that's the whole cause and effect thing. That's what the Titans did. Here, just take the ball, score. We'll take the ball back. You can if you hate to win. No, it's implying correlation equals causation. It's the same mistake everyone makes when they insist you have to run 25 plus times a game. Exactly. You can't say just get more yards. The answer is you also need the defense side of the equation. Like if your defense holds up, then you don't actually need more yards. So yeah, man, I'm all about that pass the ball. If you can just bomb the ball downfield, you got someone as accurate as Brady, watch out for those Bucks. You never know what's going to happen. You never know who Brady's hookup's going to be for the season. You never know who Brady's going to be like. You're the person who's get a bunch of points. One year it was Gronk. You never know who it's going to be. Is it Marquise Brown's on his team? Seahawks still should have ran it. Ooh, big things right here. Tom Brady going to play corner now. I don't even know what that means. We have two big important things right here. We have practical and statistical significance. And you'll see this on multiple slides. The easiest thing, and the thing we start with, is statistical significance. All statistical significance means is this. Who can tell me when something is statistically significant? This is a review of 201. When is something statistically significant? When is something statistically significant? When is something statistically significant? This is now a big review question. 0.05, what about 0.05? P-value less than 0.5, exactly right there, some 50 points in the chat. Exactly, when the p-value is less than 0.05. This is the easy one. And I want to point this out. A lot of people are going to forget how to do these, and they're going to lose points on assignments if my graders are taking off points like they should. Wink, 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 graders. And you'll see questions where you might have to write about this on the test. Statistical significance is easy because if you see a p-value of this, is this statistically significant, yes or no? You just look at that and you do what? Is that statistically significant? Which means it's unlikely by random chance. Max is 100% right. That's no. No, it's not statistically significant. Now, be careful. And I don't like doing this one, but it does occur. I'm not a big fan of putting it on tests. Is that one statistically significant? Just keep same answer coming in. Is that one statistically significant? Is that p-value right there statistically significant? Still no. Still no, because it's not less than 0.05. I'm not a big fan of putting exactly 0.05. In that instance, it's kind of like, but no. But no. Now, the hard one is the practical significance. The thing about practical significance is it's the question, do you care about it? And do you know what that means for the question of do you care about it? So if practical significance is do you care about it, what does that mean practical significance could be for anyone? So practical significance means we have to look at the results, and then we have to think about it in the context of what we're talking about here, and we have to ask, do we actually care about it? We have to look at whatever result is and say, do we care about this? I cannot state this enough, and this is where you will get the jobs. This is where you'll ace your assignments. This is why this is business analytics, not just a math class. You must argue. Max right there, 50 points. Max said, can practical significance be subjective? And that's the exact thing. You're making your case on why this is important or not important. it's 100% subjective. I mean, there's more clear-cut ones that are like, yeah, that's pretty important. If you can find significance by the way the results, it wouldn't matter if there's no impact on your future actions. Exactly, Megan. So can we have statistical significance and not have practical significance? Let's actually make a grid for this. I'm actually going to go over to Word and make a grid because Megan really brings it up the right way. You know, we can probably just keep this on the screen right here. So really, we have the following grid. There's always questions on this. So we have here statistical significance. Let's go here to statistical significance and practical significance. And this is yes for statistical significance, no for practical significance. No for statistical. Yes for practical significance, no for practical significance. Okay. The first box up here, you can have statistically significant and practically significant results. So what would you know about this right here instantaneously since it is statistically significant? What would you know about the p-value of this? What do you know about the p-value since we're in this box right here? You can have something that is statistically significant and practically significant. Your results, whenever you ran the statistics, had what? Had a p-value less than 0.05. That's what we mean by it being in this column right here. So there were statistically significant results. And then explain to me what practically significant means. Like you go to management and what are you trying to say to management? Like you're finding out that you work for the Buccaneers and you find out you should go for 2-point conversions. And you're like, we have evidence that running 2-point conversions on every attempt is going to make us more likely to win. And think about this. If you were to get 2-point conversions 80% of the time, do you think it'd be worth it? If you were to get, and that'd be amazing. I don't think they happen 80% of the time. If you were to get a 2-point conversion 80% of the time, do you think it'd be worth it? Because then your expected value of points is 1.6. And even if you make every extra point attempt, expected point value for every extra point attempt, only I think Matt Ryan or someone like that has done every, amazing kickers. Because you're like, if you're going to have an 80% probability, the expected value over the long run is 1.6. So you might say, our numbers show that this is going to be practically significant. We will get more points in the long run, but doing 2-point conversions, even though it's more risky, we have an 80% probability compared to the 98% probability, with these plays right here that we have using this strategy, we can show that in the long run, 80% of the time we will make our 2-point conversions, thus making it more worth it. Even if you're making them 50% of the time. There's a significant body of evidence that suggests you should 100% go for 2-point every time if you're down 14 points and then score a touchdown. There you go. That is, and that you're telling me what, Max, right there? So you're telling me, one, that you have strong statistical evidence and now management should decide to do this. And you're going to have to lay out the case and give them numbers. Do you hear how I was quoting numbers? Unless you are Young Hoko, you should always kick every time. Oh, there you go right there. Joe Milton right there, guaranteed 2-point conversion. Boom, right there. If you got him, and then it really depends on who's running it for you. Now, this box right here can also happen where you have statistically significant, but this means management will do what with our data? Even though what we have here is statistically significant, management will do what with our data? Management will do what with our data? Management will do what with our data? So we say, oh, we have something that is unlikely by random chance, but down here in this box, management is going to do what with our data? So maybe we should put this in words. So here we make changes. You get to read my horrible handwriting. Here we make changes. They're just going to be like, well, you have something that's unlikely by random chance, but it's not big enough. Like imagine you told management, we looked at all games in the NFL and management's like, we really don't want to change the 2-point conversions. And you say, okay, wait a minute. If you run 2-point conversions, your expected value in the long run is 0.96 points per attempt compared to 0.95 points for doing 1 point extra point attempts. So you say there's a 100th of a point more. Now it is statistically significant because this difference we see between these two are unlikely by random chance. What is management going to tell you about these differences you observe where for the 2-point attempt, you expect to get 0.96 points, where for the 1-point attempt, you expect to get 0.95 points on average? What's management going to tell you about this 100th of a point difference? in the long run between 2-point conversions and extra point attempts. So you're saying it is statistically significant. The numbers suggest that this difference here is unlikely by random chance. They will say it isn't worth it. They're going to say it's not practically significant, and we fall into this group right here, probably. Now, some crazy manager might be like, oh, every 100th of a point is worth it. You probably say, let's not make changes right here. This isn't a big change. I don't really want to change what we're doing. Are we 100% confident in these numbers? You wasted your time. Megan, you couldn't have said it better. Exact answer right there. Management's going to be like, for 100th of a point, you want us to change what we're doing? Also increased likelihood of injury. So now they say, have you ran the numbers on injuries? Because we're running a play where we're putting people at risk rather than just having a kicker behind a wall of people. You know, you ever watch an extra point, people are just line up and they're just like, okay. When you do a 2-point, they really care. When you do an extra point, they're like, they're probably going to get it anyways. Who cares? I'd love to see players who give it their all during that extra point attempt. Now, what we have right here is where we run into something that cannot occur. This cannot happen. Because if it is not statistically significant for 100 points, what we're seeing is probably what? Has a high p-value, and what we're seeing is probably what? You know what's going to happen here. If it's not statistically significant, the results we are seeing are probably what? If it's not statistically significant, the results we are seeing are probably just due to this. You know what happens here. Well, not associated by chance. Random chance. It's just random chance. So now maybe that difference up there we see between the two could just be random differences. So we don't even think there's a difference between the two groups. So think about this. If I tell you I can't even distinguish which is better, what are you going to tell me to do? Think about this. If I say I can't even tell you which is better because by it not being statistically significant, I can't even tell you which is better. Since it's not statistically significant, everything we're seeing right here could be just due to random chance. I can't even tell you if 2-point conversions or extra points are better. I don't know. The differences are probably just by random chance. My analysis doesn't even tell you which is better. Don't change anything. So now they're not, just instantaneously, they must be not practically significant. So must be. So when is the only time you have to decide if something is practically significant? And this is the key and a key learning objective, because I might just review this for the last 3 minutes. When is the only time? Let me put up here some hints. Let's put up here question 1. When is the only time you would have to decide if something is practically significant? When it is statistically significant. You say, is this unlikely by random chance? And you first, so if you're like, no, this is by random chance, boom, you can't use it. It's garbage. Toss it out. You're done. So, or you might be like, hey, we found that there's no differences, so we don't even want to change anything. You might go to management with that and you say, we can't even use this. So you're telling them there's no point to changing anything because, yeah, it's like this is not practically significant. We shouldn't make any changes. But over here, you find that there is a difference. Now you have to make an argument. And think about this. If you could tell somebody with your play strategy, you would expect to get 1.6 points on average per play or 1.95 points per average, 9.6 I typed, would you think you could convince management? And you say the probability of injury remains the same. We analyzed that. I think someone asked about probability of injury, and we have certain plays that we've set up that protect players well enough that we have concluded that probability of injury is not significantly different. So probability of injury was no significant difference. So we're not worried about that being a factor right here. But we have good evidence that the difference between the points is about 0.64. So I'm typing in the chart here. The difference between expected points is 0.064 and, oh, I mistyped. I can't type today. And is significant with a p-value of 0.000 blah, blah, blah. So what am I telling you with that p-value? On technicality of management wanted to make a decision, yet you had data saying it's not statistically. Yes, Megan, just, man, that would be like, that's like practically significant in allowing them to not decide. If you see those extra points would lead to wins and not just more total points. Yeah, and you'd have to watch out. So maybe we're more concerned about wins, and we could look at the probability of winning associated with making this decision right here. So there's a lot of things we could look at and a lot of questions to ask. And this is what you want to know right here. Like, I'm going to get a lot of questions on, let me go back to the main screen, or it's right over here. One of the big questions people are going to keep asking, and it's all right, keep asking those questions, is how do I know if something is practically significant? I want you to put in the chat right here because someone's going to ask it. I'm going to ask you for an office hours. Someone asks, how do you know if something is practically significant? Which will be a big theme throughout the remainder of associations and the remainder of everything we do. How do we know if something is practically significant? How would we know that? We basically ask, do we what about it? How do we know if something is practically significant? What do we do to find out if something is practically significant? 30-second timer. What do we do? Do we care? Veda, great answer right there. Do we care? And then how do we figure out if we care? We have to make an argument. We have to make a case. The way to use, first thing ask, is it statistically? Great answer right there, Max. Is it statistically significant? And then we can talk about practical significance. And then you have to make a case. You have to give some numbers. Never answer yes or no for this. Never answer yes or no for practical significance because you're not making a case. You're not arguing with numbers. And then you argue about the context. Does this matter? And that's got class. Great job today, everybody. Crazy start to the week. Woo! So does it matter? Do we care? Quote me the numbers. Tell me what's going on with this data. Pretend you're speaking to management and they say to you, is this practically significant? And you say, yes. Then they're going to say, what's management going to say when you say yes? They say, so are your results practically significant? You say, yes. Management's going to immediately say, okay, they're going to say what next? Once you say, yeah, it's practically significant. Yeah, it is. They're immediately going to be like, what? Mayors are all crazy today. I'll throw some 50 points. Well, management say immediately, why? What did you find? Why? What's going on? What did you find? Why are they practically significant? What are the numbers? Do you have a chart? Do you have a graph to show me? Can you explain that? I haven't had stats in years. I don't understand these numbers. Why? If you remember, Kevin earlier on was saying how he was presenting his information. So what does hours mean when you check your points? How many hours you've been watching live? So some people might have some more hours because maybe they had another class. So some people get some crazy hours. Some people are over 100 hours. But the hours are the amount of hours you've been live. And then you can see your points. And great job. We got some people over 10,000 right now. I think there's up to 50,000 points of levels. So you can get up to 50,000, which then the last few tiers of level are really hard to get to. But I want to just say great job, everybody. Really great job today. As Brian it's already been just a crazy day. Crazy day. Awesome. Let's go back to the main screen. Swing by for Pepsi tonight. I'd be honored if we have a bunch of people there. That'd be so awesome. I hope we have at least 30 people. I want to see 30 people. I sent it out to all 201. Let me check to make sure Pepsi hasn't emailed back and said, wrong time. Ah! I hate time zones. Time zones are so confusing. Did they email back? Oh, here we go. That's what we have. Okay, good. They have the same time. Okay, she's listening to a call back at 12. I think that's already, she might have called. Amazon Alexa. No worries. Everything is set up and good to go. Send the invite to lots of students. Hope we have a great showing. Okay, and then let me gonna send this announcement. I hate time zones. I've messed them up before. Everyone, if you could send this to your students this year, feel free to send this to your 201 students. Pepsi is missing tonight to talk about. Okay, got that, and let me post this in the Discord. head off here. Have you ever heard of 53? What is that, Max? Explain what that is. Max, what is that? Do tell. I'm very interested. What is the rule of 53? I'm not the biggest sports analytics person, so that's a good question. Let me put this in the Discord. Ooh, got some few questions in the Discord. Let me go down here to general chat. Let me do everybody. Gotta be careful with the everyone, right? Add everyone. Are you interested in internships? PepsiCo. Okay, let me grab the stream. Sorry. Like, oof, 3 hours. Oh my gosh. Time zones. Time zones. I know. Send now. And there we go. Cool. Let me take a look. Let's see here. Okay, so he had this rule where if you get at least 53 rushing attempts, you would win the game. Although the issue is that teams tend to run the ball when they are ahead. So they're running because they're winning, not winning because they are running. That's Max right there, another 50 points. That's exactly it. It's not that so you're running the ball because you're in a safe position. It's not that running leads to winning. It's that winning leads to running, which is weird to say, right? That winning leads to running. So a team that is winning is more likely to run the ball. There's a video of this guy deadlift or benching 395. My favorite NFL analytics guy debunked it, and it's what got me interested in business analytics, NFL analytics. Yes, and we're trying to do more like big data bowl stuff. So we're trying to put some opportunities out there and grow what the students are doing. We want to have our students, especially next semester, completing in the big data bowl for Kaggle, because truthfully, a lot of these NFL teams and everything are hiring from students who are competing in these things. So Max, we need to get our students signed up to Kaggle, which is something we're working on. Which is a competition site. We want you competing. We want you analyzing data. We want to bring in people like, who's your favorite NFL analytics guy? Because what if I were to get him on here for an interview? I think that'd be pretty cool, Max. So if you drop me the name or message me the person, like in Discord or something, and if I can reach out to them and say like, hey, yeah, that'd be awesome. And we should try to get your analytics guy on here. Unless maybe it's like a really top tier high name and it'd be hard to get a hold of them. But a lot of people are very open to stuff. I've had a few people say they'd be willing to join our channel. Sometimes I just run out of time because there's a lot going on. I'm going to go make lunch here in a second. That's what I always say. And then I get busy. But which person is it who's your top tier person? His name is Ben Baldwin, and he writes for The Athletic. Although I can message you a few guys that are recent grads that work for NFL teams. Yeah, I have one of my students, Zach, works for baseball team. Yeah, if you want to message me the people who are recent grads, especially if they want to come back and talk. Let me look up Ben Baldwin right here. Ben Baldwin's, is it Computer Cowboy? Ooh, he's got some good stuff here. Yeah, he's got 58K followers. And he's got like a HAL 3000 or whatever is this thing. Ooh, wait, I think this is the Kaggle thing. He's showing it on this looks really interesting. His June 5th post, which got 260 likes. That's very interesting. Sample cover 3 plays that model thinks are cover 1. Is he using a neural net or something on this? Open source football. Computer viz with NFL player tracking data using Torch for R. Did you see that your guy right here, Computer Cowboy, one of them computed in the BDB last year, Big Data Bowl, and now does the whole next gen stats for the NFL Amazon. Yeah, that's him. That's awesome. And this guy right here, Computer Viz with NFL players tracking data using Torch for R. So if you look at this right here, and he puts his code out there, this dude is awesome. Yeah, let's see if we can get him on here just to do a talk and give suggestions to people. I'd have him on for his like own night, his own interview. You know, it looks like he does a podcast or something. So, you know, some of these people, I understand they have a lot of stuff. Look at it here. He's saving his data frame. He's using this package, NGLS, clean R, prepare BDB week, big data ball. He's pulling in the big data ball. He's pulling in week 1. Here's the different arguments. There's the directory of it. He's trimming it. I don't know which frames after throw, keep frames. So I think this is a different type of data than I'm used to seeing. He goes through here and talks about it probably. He's using dplyr functions to go through here. He's using the mutate to create a new column, it looks like. He's calling the readr package to, it's a quicker way to read data. It's a CSV file. Readr is a much better reading. Yeah, you haven't, no. And I'll send out some stuff and if I say to him, hey, you know, I teach this class and this is so cool. He's doing a great job of explaining this. This is an amazing article, and I'm so glad he posts all the code right here. This is dplyr functions right here, which we really should be using more. If he sees this, he'd be like, probably like, why are you not using dplyr? But that's a piping option right there, and he's going through selecting certain columns. It looks like he's creating a subset. He's getting the uniques. He's mutating to create a new column right here, going through right here, %%. He's group by, which is subsetting it, or like creating the groups. Mutating, ungroup. Oh, he ungroups at the end. And then he gets this out of it, I believe. Man, this is some good code. This is some good stuff. And he's just running all of his fill in the tensors. Man, this is so, you got me addicted to this, just going through his code and looking at it. He's just looking at the dimensions of his data set right there, seeing what he's getting afterwards, splitting the data. Ooh. This is 474. This is predictive modeling. He's making a predictive model right here to see if it works, doing an 80, 20%. Max, if you're reading through what this guy does, you're reading through our classes because this is predictive modeling 474. And then he's going to use something like a neural net or something. That's the structure. He should be using, I don't know why he's not using Glimpse. Glimpse is what you do in dplyr. No, I'm sorry. Data Cowboy, you obviously know what you're doing. He's gonna see this. But I would probably use Glimpse right there. I mean, he's using all dplyr. He's got his own function to augment the data so he can run it a lot quicker. He's storing the function into the augment with the arguments. But what is he going to do with his training and holdout? I'm just so interested in this. Okay, tracking data set. Okay, I don't know that function. He's like, haha, you don't know that function. I'm like, yeah, I don't know it. I'm sorry. The model, here we go. And finally, neural net. I called it neural net. Yeah, because he talked about something earlier on. I saw some neural net stuff. Is he writing his own neural net function? He's writing his own neural net function. Psh, that's some good stuff right there. This is amazing, Max. He's using his own neural net. I mean, he's not doing it from pure scratch. He's using a lot of the functions in here to create a, that's a neural net function. How many lines? He wrote his own neural net right here using the neural net module, which is in the base class for all neural net modules. So that calls the base class for it. So it's class neural net. That's awesome. And then he's using cross-validation, of course, CV. You know, how many folds? He's using repeated k-fold. He's using 23. Maybe that's when he started writing all this stuff. No, but this is, you can't, obviously you can tell I'm just like, this is so cool. Is he running it repeatedly on it? He's finding the remainder of that. Model eval. He's going through, he's iterating it. And how many folds? He's letting it indicate the folds as part of his argument. Did he write his own function here? Did I miss that? For the folds. I must have missed that. Whoa. He's having it, trying to converge, it looks like. Testing, and then he's going to see how it works on the test data set. And he's going to pick the best. That's super cool. I might be the only one here right now. That is super cool. Really great stuff right here. Ooh, Zach Feldman. Ooh, wait. Is that? No, that's not our Zach dude right there. There's a Zach guy, Zach of data analytics. This guy's at PwC. Might be different. That might be a different person. There's a Zach who works at a data robot. Well, that's got it. This is really cool, Zach, Max. We're going to keep checking this out, but that's a lot of what we cover in our classes. We'll be back here with more Stat 201 BS 320. I'm going to go grab some food real quick and then be back for office hours. Yeah, bye, everybody. See you for now.